Hello everybody. I have no idea if I'm live. This is an on-screen live. Right, it seems to be working. Hello everybody. My name is Pierre and I'm an adventure travel filmmaker. This is the first time I've ever done a live stream on YouTube, so I hope you can hear me. You're very welcome to comment. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cameras and equipment I use when I travel overland and I make my films. So I will welcome any chats, and I hope they'll come up and I'll be able to see them. But as I say, this is the first time I've ever done this, so it's a bit of a challenge for me. And if you do comment, I don't know where I will actually see them. Anyway, I hope you're there. I hope I'm not talking to myself. The most important thing about equipment when shooting adventure travel is the fact that you've got to be light and you've got to be fast. Very heavy tripods, very heavy gear, heavy, big stuff to lug around, lots of that stuff to lug around, means that the process of capturing a story is that much more difficult. And I have tried video cameras. I mean, I've used video cameras, and right now the DSLR revolution means that a camera this size can shoot better videos than all but the most expensive video cameras. So why would I have such a big video camera? Cameras like this have auto function, so in an emergency and difficult lighting situation I can just turn it on and automatic, because remember, the most important thing is to get the story, not to lug equipment around. And the digital DSLR revolution and new mirrorless solutions that are now available means that we can shoot beautiful quality at high bit rates, even in 4K, get gorgeous quality, use lenses that are not particularly expensive. I mean, you don't have to go the cinema lenses, and get amazing quality. I'll give you an example of why I think that DSLR, particularly full frame DSLR, are a big advantage to people like us making adventure travel films. And that is that we have a choice. We can go proper video cameras, FS7, Sony's, C200, C300, Canons, this kind of camera. None of them are full frame. The image quality of the smaller, they're normally Super 35 sensors. The image quality is normally, with that kind of camera, the quality is gorgeous. I mean, superb, beautiful. But you have to buy the expensive lenses. For example, the FS7 comes with it's like a 35 to 250, I don't actually know. It's quite a long, inexpensive Sony lens, and it's horrible. The quality's horrible. So, and that'll give good range from that small sensor, reasonable wide angle, actually quite a good telephoto, but the quality will be horrible. And they're not particularly fast lenses, so the openings aren't particularly high, and your big compromise. You would spend all this money on this camera body, which is heavier to lug around, more difficult to use. You've got to know more about it. I think they're more difficult to use than DSLR. Some might disagree with me on that one. And you've got to spend a lot of money on the lenses. Now, for example, if I wanted a super wide, I love shooting with my 17mm lens. Lovely wide vistas, beautiful. I mean, it's so easy to compose a nice shot with a really wide angle lens. Just get something in the foreground, get that beautiful, especially if you've got a great sky. You've got this beautiful perspective with a super wide angle lens. Try that with an APS sensor or a 35mm sensor. What lens are you going to use to get that wide? That's a problem. You are going to spend a lot of money on a lens to get that wide. I can buy an inexpensive 16mm lens, 18mm lens, even 24mm lens. they're not expensive, and I can get that because I've got full frame. So the penalties of a pack of video cameras, at the end of the day, if you've got lots and lots of money and helpers, yeah, go for the video cameras. But if you don't, DSLR, but full frame, for that same reason. Now, this is a camera that I used it on my latest trip. I did a major trip through the Outback Australia. It's on my other channel, 4X Overland, through Outback Australia, called Canning Stock Route, the longest remote track in the world. And I used the Sony A7R II. Shoots beautiful video, full 4K internally. The lenses are not particularly expensive. And this lens here, for example, this is an example. It's a full frame lens, EF lens, so it's E-mount, full frame. It's 90mm. It's 2.8, so it's reasonably fast. It's a prime, so quality is good. Quality is actually gorgeous. It has a macro function, which has been very nice for me. First time I've actually shot macro for a very, very long time. I loved it. And the quality is gorgeous. It's gorgeous for the money. The quality is gorgeous. Canon do the same thing. Well, not so much Canon, because Canon doesn't shoot 4K internally on any of its DSLR cameras. They've chosen not to do that with their DSLR cameras. And their compact 4K camera with a fixed lens, the 10, I think it is, XA10. Don't quote me on the model numbers. I sometimes get them wrong. It's got bad reviews. The lens is mediocre, and they're not cheap. This is about the same price, and the quality is much better. So the reviews say, I don't know personally. And the other big thing about adventure travel and big cameras is that you attract attention to yourself. This is very, very common. So for example, you'll be in an area where you want to set up a beautiful shot for your, and out comes the big legs, the big head, because you've got a heavy thing. And the people there will turn around and say, hang on a minute, this is professional. No, you need to pay a fee. You need to get a permit. Very common. Game reserves and national parks throughout Africa. You take a big camera in there, $1,000, $1,200 a day, and you have to hire their guides. You have to, that kind of thing. Same in Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, South Africa. You can go in with small cameras with a light tripod and film, and nobody's gonna argue. They think you're a tourist. I did a shoot in Zambia in 2015. Went to some of the national parks and got lovely game shots with actually a little camcorder. And I had the same situation because I actually contacted the tourism board, and I was going to get a bit of sponsorship from them, and they said, yeah, it's going to cost you $1,000 a day to go into the national parks with your cameras. And I said, but you're interested in sponsoring me because you want to encourage and promote Zambia as a destination, and now you're telling me that the money I'm actually going to have to spend is more than the money that you're going to contribute. You're just contributing hotels, contacts and things like that. You're not giving me any money. And I said, well, it can't happen. Well, it's not our department. So what did I do? I said, okay, well, thank you very much. And I went anyway. I got gorgeous footage, small cameras, small lenses. Nobody even batted an eyelid. And it's a professional series. It's been on TV. And it was shot with cameras like this, small cameras. It's another reason to go and keep it compact. I had, when was it now? Earlier this year, I tried another video camera as a B-roll camera for grab. The great thing about a video camera as opposed to a stills camera is that it's great for just picking it up and just shooting. And you just shoot, and you've got the viewfinder up here, and it's really good for that because it's designed for that. Whereas this is a bit of a pain. That's the best the thing can do. It can tilt up like that, you can't focus like that. You need to put your eye onto it. It's another advantage, by the way, I digress slightly, of mirrorless over DSLR. Digital single lens reflex cameras, you'll have to put a loop here. Don't think you can focus like this. You cannot, even with a big screen. And also, the other thing is that if you try and frame your shot like this, you don't have 3 points, you've only got 2 points. You need 3 points. 1, 2, 3, your head and the foot to keep it stable. B, unless you cut out the whole world apart from your image, you won't notice camera shake. You won't notice half the things going on in the frame. So I've seen professionals do it. I won't go into the story now, but you have to get a good framing to follow objects, to get to know that while you're shooting you've got a nice pan, a nice tilt, a nice move, nice focus pull, that the shot is steady. The only way to do it is to put your eye up to an eyepiece and cut out the rest of the world. Because if you can imagine seeing and for example, if you had a viewfinder, for example, this big, okay, imagine if you had a viewfinder this big, and that was attached to the top of your camera, and it was moving around. Your eye, if you move around, if you're in a car, the whole world doesn't do this, does it? Because your eye actually keeps everything still. You might feel, but your eyes don't see everything shaking around, because your eye corrects automatically. As you move your head, your eyes stay. So if I can move my head like this and I can just look at that object over there. If you're now shooting with a monitor like this, and the image is jumping around in there, your eyes will follow it. You won't notice the camera shake. It will go completely unseen. Unless it is extreme, you won't notice it. And then you'll look at the footage and you'll think, oh my heavens, it's terrible. It's so shaky. Okay, you can't do it. These large things on cameras are for studios. Generally speaking, they're for studios. Or, no, that's not actually necessarily true. For a setup shot, you've set it up. There's the composition. You've got a composition. You've got a director looking at the composition. But the guy actually operating the camera, his eye is on the viewfinder. Okay. Another reason why on a DSLR you've got to have a great big loop sticking out the back. Just very cumbersome. Okay, I shot with 5D Mark II and 5D Mark III. Then when the Sony AS series came out, I bought the A7S. I still have it. In fact, it's filming right now. What a lovely camera. Unbelievable in low light. Just astonishing. Fantastic. Quality, the image quality, the tonality of that camera, that is wonderful. And of course you don't need to, because it's got an electronic viewfinder. And a lot of people that are used to DSLR, they say, oh, like electronic viewfinder. No. They're so good that it's really okay. And the other thing is you get peaking. When I see something glow yellow, I've set it on yellow. When I see something in my viewfinder glow yellow, I know it's in focus. I know. I know. It's fantastic. And that's what makes it wonderful. It's very fast. So you can go, focus, got my story. Because you must remember that the story is more important than the equipment. Getting close, getting in, getting close, getting the story is more important than the equipment. And I will be posting on my video a whole heap of training films that I've made about what I've learned about filming and what I've learned about, more importantly, capturing a story. And in my videos, I don't talk a lot about equipment, because I think that equipment is actually, there's too much about equipment on the internet. And there's nothing wrong with it, because I like it too. I like watching a video about a new lens or a new camera, a new idea, I do that too. But there's a lot of it, and there's not a lot about the art of telling stories. How to do a tracking shot. How about, why would I want a tracking shot? Drones. Get a drone shot. Why would I want a drone shot? I mean, they can be wonderful, yes, but they're becoming a little bit cliched. How do you get perspective out of a drone? Okay, now you're talking. Why would you want perspective? Well, we all like perspective because it gives us relevance. Stuff like that. So I'm going to be posting a lot of videos on what I've learned about filmmaking while I've been doing it, which is a long time. And the other thing is about camera choice. So we're going to go back a little bit and continue this discussion about equipment. If you're looking at a camera, the camera is not, you can shoot nice stuff with an iPhone if you want to. You really can. You can tell a good story on an iPhone. Many people have done it. But the one thing that a camera must have, and I think it is the single most important single thing that a camera has to have before considering it as a camera to shoot video. It has to have an external microphone jack. It divides cameras from forget it to okay, I'll put it in the list, let's have a closer look at it. If it doesn't have a way of attaching an external microphone, then it's off the list. Now, some may say, yes, but you can record sound externally on a separate machine. Yes, you can. Why would you want to? A. B. Unless you've got a separate sound person monitoring sound all of the time, which I don't, then that is not an option, because it's difficult enough with one person shooting and monitoring sound and making sure the sound is good, and sound is more difficult to capture than video mostly, and it's a non-starter, to be honest with you. Yes, you can. Don't. Get a camera with a built-in, and then choose good microphones. And there are some superb microphones on the market. I'm going to get up now and I'm going to show you the two microphones that I use most often. I'll be back in 30 seconds or less. So that is the first one. It is one of my oldest pieces of kit. Sennheiser rifle microphone, mono. It is power. It will take phantom power, but these cameras don't supply phantom power, unlike a video camera would supply its own phantom power. So it has a battery built into it. Very directional. Must get. If you're going to spend money on this, you must spend just as much money on this. If you don't have good wind protection, then you don't have good microphone. End of story. And then outside, always use wind protection. And that is one of my oldest pieces of kit, and it's really, really nice quality, absolutely reliable. I can just mount it. I can just mount it on the camera, and I know that I'm getting good sound. I just know. Biggest problem are the connectors, the cables. I carry lots of them. I check them frequently. Check them every morning, even during the day. Listen to your sound and then move them around. And if there's the slightest crackle, bin them. Put in another one. It's a very common problem with connectors. For all of the microphones that I've ever used, connectors are the biggest problem. I've got another microphone here which is very, very, very nice, and I think you'll appreciate this. It's a I haven't had this for very long, and I absolutely love it. The Rode Pro X stereo microphone, and that's its big fluffy. You can just keep me company at night. Calm down. The sound quality of this thing, stereo. What a beautiful thing. Oh, the sound quality is gorgeous. It wasn't cheap, but man, you get what you pay for. Well, you do anyway, but I mean, love it. So, pay a lot of it, and you'll see with the videos that I'm going to be presenting on the channel. Spend a lot of time capturing sound. And I will share this again and again and again during my videos, that the audio is actually more important than the video. It's a difficult thing to a lot of people to actually understand. If you don't have good audio, you don't have a good story. End. The end. You can have the most beautiful scene in the world and it scores a 10 on the Richter scale for impactfulness. Now you add a good soundtrack to it and you blow people away. You just blow their minds, because the audio is what transmits the emotion, the feeling of a place. Think of a beach, beautiful beach. Now listen to the waves crashing, and you listen to the gulls, and listen. The sound is what makes you feel a place. The video is kind of intellectual. Look at that glacier, look at that forest, that sunset, wow. Now you hear the cracking of the ice. That's good storytelling. If your storytelling gets people to feel something, you've succeeded. To emote. Even if it's just, and travel films are, a good travel film somebody will look at it and say, yeah, gee, I'd love to go there. That's doing its job. But a great travel film, they just sit there mesmerized. This place. Can't believe it. There's a difference. One that the travel agents would appreciate, the other artists would appreciate. And travelers would much rather feel something more than just, yeah, I'd like to go there. Nah, that's not really enough. And it'll keep the travel agents happy. You want people to emote. Put it on their bucket list. I have got to go to the Australian outback. Oh, what an amazing experience. The experience comes through the soundtrack. What people are saying, you want to hear what they're saying. Telling a story, you want to hear the words, you want to hear the birds, you want to hear the crunch of the tires, you want to hear things, the sound. Again, microphones like this are incredibly good at recording ambience, that feeling, stereo. They're not always very good at recording a voice. This is surprisingly good, this one, where the voice breaks through the clutter of other sounds. Actually quite amazing. But this is superb. MK300, I'm terrible with model names of things. It's Sennheiser. Beautiful, clear voice enunciation, even at quite a distance. It breaks through the clutter. It's directional, so it doesn't pick up too much background stuff, and unless the background noise is directly behind your subject, it will be suppressed. And you know, beautiful. And I have a radio microphone, lapel microphone, if I'm doing interviews or I'm doing a shoot to camera, particularly with a long lens. I will use a radio mic, attenuated for voice, and you'll get clean, crisp voice. Most of these cameras now, you can set them on the audio onto auto level, and they do a remarkably good job. Actually, perfectly good enough. Actually, you don't need a sound. Yeah, if you had a sound person, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Most of us don't. We've got to do it ourselves. I do it myself, and I use good quality microphones, good quality cables, and the sound looks after itself. And I have a very low failure rate when it comes to audio. Which brings me on to this other little camera here. This camera you may recognize. It's a great little, it's called a Dji Osmo. It's one of these little gimbal cameras, and it is a lovely instrument. I'll turn it on. And then you'll notice now that it's staying straight. It's very, very good for running, moving cameras, tracking shots inside a vehicle. The vehicle shakes around like anything, but you point at somebody inside a vehicle and they're absolutely static and the world's going upside down. It's very, very clever. Sound quality is awful. It's the biggest problem with this camera. It's sound quality. It's got a sound input. The preamp inside's lousy. even with a very expensive microphone, sound quality is okay at best. So it's not really good for documenting stuff, mainly because of sound quality. Picture quality is really rather good. Color saturation is a bit off, but for those bits and pieces where the camera's moving around like crazy and a tracking shot or a voice to camera in a bumpy car or in a lift or something like that, grabbing the story, nice little tool to have in the back pocket. That basically is a quick summary of the equipment that I use. I basically have 5 cameras at the moment. The trip that I did in Australia, the Sony A7R2, the A7S. I'm shooting 4K, so the A7S doesn't shoot 4K internally. I want to upgrade to the next A7S when it comes out. I have a Canon 17mm to 40 wide angle, which I'm upgrading to the Sony. They've just brought out a 16 to 35 f2.8. That's the one I will get, upgrade. I have this 90mm 2.8. I have a Canon 100 to 400. You see, I've kept a bit of my old Canon stuff, but I'll be upgrading fully to Sony because their autofocus system is remarkably good now. I've never trusted it before, but with the A7R2, it's fantastic. I can trust it. First time I can ever trust a camera, autofocus, while shooting video. First camera I've ever used that I can just trust it. It will follow focus, and it will. I just know it will. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then I've got the Mavic Pro drone, very compact, great for traveling, and the Osmo, and GoPro 4.5 black. They just released the 6 black, which looks very interesting. It's a bit pricey, but I will probably get it because I think the GoPro is a very, very nice thing to have for those tough to get shots and fill shots and B-roll stuff. Really, really useful. Really, really nice indeed. So now, as I said at the beginning of the video, that this is the very, very first time I've ever done a live broadcast from my editing room, and I've done it on this is my second channel. This is my film channel where I post my film work, not where I post my adventure travel stuff. And I don't know if anybody's commented. I'm going to click a few buttons to see if it's busy streaming live, and it says I'm streaming, and I think I am, but I'm not sure if yeah, I don't actually know, but because where your comments and questions, there are 54 people watching me. Well, hello. I figured out there are 54 of you watching me. I've been running for 28 minutes. I said that I would be here for 15 minutes, so I've overstayed my welcome a little bit. I will figure it out, I promise, on how to see the comments, so in future that you can make comments. I can't. This is crazy. I'll figure it out. So create highlight. I feel stupid here. I'm sitting here talking to you, and I know you're watching me, and I don't know if anybody's commented or seen. Anyway, there have been some messages, but I don't know how to get them. I'm going to say goodnight now, and I hope you've enjoyed my little chat. There'll be more videos, and if this was a success, well, then I'll do some more. So thank you for watching. Now, how do I turn you off? Oh, look, I've live chat. Sorry, hey, been loving the Canning Route series, but I'm a rider, not a driver. Did you come across? Okay, so I'm going to keep going for a bit. Yes, I did come across. There were quite a few bikes. There were about 12 bikes in a convoy. Use separate compact audio recorder and decent. Actually, no need to save audio on the Osmo. Yeah, I agree with you there. Actually, for the Osmo stuff, use a separate recorder, but it's too much of a hassle. You know, this is what I was saying. You've got to reduce the hassle, because when you're trying to catch a story and you're just going in there, just catching a story and seeing things, you don't have a lot of time to just plug things. It's bad enough. Which microphone? You know, that's bad enough. So I just thanks for an inspiration. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is fun. Hello from Greece, very enjoyable. Saudi Arabia, hello Adam. You've been around a long time. Texas, loving your videos. Thanks for awesome content. Hey, cool. Thanks. Here from the UK. I finally find where people are commenting right at the end of the show. Oh well. Good on you, mate. Here from South Yorkshire, Sweden. Greetings from the USA. Solihull. I used to live quite close to Solihull, down in Worcestershire. Scotland, Poland. Problems with DSLR resolution? Well, DSLR, this one, the resolution, I'm shooting at 100 megabits per second, which is pretty good. Yeah, I could do with a bit more, I guess. But 100's really good. So I'm happy with that. So that, you said in a recent video on canning stock that you weren't into drones yet. It's hard to tell a story with a drone, but how much footage do you think you're pulling from? Well, the canning stock was the first time I'd used a drone in all seriousness. And I love the footage. I love the opportunities that it gives, the perspective that it gives. I particularly love that shot. You'll notice that shot. I was walking on the white pan, and I took the drone off, and I thought, again, I'm thinking perspective, story, relevance, not just a shot of me on the pan. So I just sent it full speed left and just held my button on the thing and just walked. And this thing traveled around me, and it was probably about as high as my head off the ground. And I love that shot. That gave me a thrill. When I saw that shot, wow, that was beautiful. I love that. And so I will use drones more, but I think that drones can often be overused. I think they're overused generally, but I think that where they can help with the story, they do something that nothing else can do. So I just think that they were a very, very valuable tool, but the danger is overusing them. So I would be driving along and I'd also think, is this a drone? Is this a drone moment? And every now and again it was, oh yes, it was unmistakable. And that's what, and I think there are 3 occasions on the canning where the drone shots were wonderful. At least 2 across that mud. Again, I took it off the ground and just flew it flat out, straight away from me, with the sun behind me, just straight over that mud. And I think that shot is gorgeous. Again, a perspective that you couldn't get any other way. So that's my answer on June. On drones, image quality epic, but doesn't go over 80p on most cams. You're right, it doesn't. So I mean, 1080 is pretty amazing. I've got a 4K TV. It's 39 inches. It's not an enormous, not a vast television set, and HD looks fantastic on it. 4K, yes, does look better. I think we're being spoiled, but I'm now shooting 4K, and 4K is just awesome. It's a challenge for the editing. My computer works very hard and struggles to show it smoothly, but we just take advantage of all the technology as it comes along. And why not put a DSLR on the drone? I am not going to put that incredibly expensive uninsured camera on a drone. No. Nice idea, no. And I'd need a big one. I'd need a big one. Again, with travel filmmaking, staying light, staying compact. I am thinking about doing more with drones and getting more quality, because the Mavic is not great picture quality. It's okay. Yeah, it's nice, but could be a lot better. And so, not convinced yet about investing that much into drones. I might get there. Canada or Mexico as a trip. I'm actually hoping to do Canada next year. That's on my bucket list for next year, 2018. You need a professional license for a drone that can carry DSLR similar. That's a problem. Yeah, I guess you would. Where's the next big trip? I don't know yet. Sorry, I can't give you any exciting scoop on that. Mitsubishi Delica, don't know it. I know of it. I've seen them. Don't know. I can't really comment on them. They look quite interesting, don't they? Australia Outback. I don't know. Robert Martin Schumann, Australia Outback. I'll definitely do another Outback trip next year. I've got a trip next year planned in Africa, where I will be my idea is to go in search of places to camp where you camp with the animals. The animals are actually around the campsite. Because if you've ever done that, it is so exciting. Man, it can get, and scary at times. Really, 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 and I want to do that. And I want to go through, I've got some choice places in Botswana, in Zambia, and mana pools in Zimbabwe, and some places in Zambia and Tanzania. And I'm trying to do that, trying to put that together for next year, 2018. So that's probably my next biggest trip, but I will be going to the States, like I do every year, and I want to do something in Canada. So that answers your question with that. Hard thing with GoPro for beginners to keeping it steady. Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, as I was explaining with the eyepiece thing, it has no stabilization, but the new 6 has stabilization. But I agree with you, and that's why this is actually better than the GoPro, because it has amazing stabilization, but lousy audio. And the new GoPro audio, you can't mount it on anything and plug in a separate microphone with a new GoPro. So the sound, you have to rely on the microphone. Yes, it's a reasonable microphone, but it's still terrible. So you can't rely on a GoPro for decent sound. You just can't. Brazil, South America. I'd love to go to Brazil and South America. Brazil, to be honest with you, Brazil is not on my bucket list. It's just not. Argentina is. Peru definitely is. Chile definitely. So, but South America most definitely on my bucket list, without a question. Perhaps the Badger 1000 at a reasonable speed. Yep, fair enough. Hello, Patriot extraordinaire. Good to see you. Portugal, slow motion on the camera on editing. Camera. No contest. I won't go into the details. No contest, camera. If you can do it in the camera, do it in the camera. Yeah, I've seen the one that's gimbal based, but even his videos in the car are quite reasonable stations. Could also be an Osmo. Probably is. They work very well. So such a lot of your videos available on YouTube. There are now. There never used to be, but I started putting them up in big numbers about 2.5 years ago. 3 numbers. I just started putting them up when I launched Patreon. Really, that was really the start of being able to say. Somebody said to me, "You need to give your footage away. You give your programs away." Didn't understand it. It was the best advice I've give best advice in the last 10 years. Buy decent cable. Yes, save yourself a lot of cheap connectors. Are absolutely right. So right. So you like dead cats? It's not dead. There's nothing dead about it. It always tries to get away. I think a good bit of advertising is needed. I love the canning stock route. Good. I've enjoyed making it. I love that trip. Absolutely love that trip. So yes, and Perth meetup for Patreons. I am going to do it. Sorry guys, I don't really have an excuse. Well, I do, but I'm not interested. I will do a Perth meetup, but I am going to be at the show, the 4-wheel drive show, on the, when is it, the 12th, 13th, 14th, that weekend, November. I will be there. My vehicle will be at the BF Goodrich stand, so I will be there. And yeah, looking forward to more on Vimeo. I put a Vimeo link on the latest Patreon video, which was Canning Stock Route episode 6 for Patreons. That went up about an hour ago actually, and there is a link to Vimeo. I don't know if I should post first of all. I'm still trying to figure it out, because I want to make sure that no patrons are left out here. They all must be able to watch the programs the way they want to watch them. That goes without saying. So a bit of work around that. Okay guys, I'm very, very grateful that you watched me and I could talk about my filmmaking, and I'm now going to try and turn it off again now. I hope you've had a very nice evening. I have. We shall be doing it again soon, This was really a test. The next time I do it, I will be making an announcement for patrons. I will, put in more effort and letting people know about it. I didn't at this point because, well, as you can see, I have no idea what I'm doing. Anyway, good night. That's if, of course, if I can turn it off. Sleep well. It's after midnight in Perth, and I'm going to bed.